On the heels of the most gruesome killing at Babonneau in recent memory, the overdue police station opened to serve and protect. The CSA catches a savory deal for the Fish Market Corporation, and lessons from the whiz. Some may consider it too late in coming, others just happy that it is finally in full operation. One thing is for certain, the Babonneau police station will fill a need from both a policing and public standpoint. Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV. I am Lisa Joseph. There is regret both from residents and officials that the Babonneau police station was not in operation as the community dealt with the disappearance and subsequent gruesome murder of Ronnie Walters. On Monday evening, the station was declared officially opened with expectations that it would serve the constituency and eliminate the frustration and hassle of depending on grocery or castries. More now from the CTV's Jesse Leons.
The Babonneau community is now being serviced by its own fully operational police station. St. Lucia's newest national security implement was formally commissioned with an opening ceremony on Monday afternoon with government officials, officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and members of the Diplomatic Corps in attendance. Mooted under the last administration, the present government of St. Lucia managed to complete the initiative despite discrepancies over the site of choice. Commissioner Vernon Fassoir thanked the government for the accommodation works that had been made in making policing the area more convenient.
As you are probably aware, prior to commissioning this police station, the Babonneau community was policed from Central Police Station in Castries. Due to proximity issues, you will understand that policing Babonneau from Castries was particularly challenging. Effectiveness and efficiency could not be guaranteed under this construct. This was of particular concern to the police as we pride ourselves in being an efficient organization. Another significant value to the opening of the Babonneau police station is that it will invariably redistribute the workload currently assigned to Central Police Station and Criminal Investigations Department in Castries.
The 14th homicide for the year, the death of Ronnie Walters, was recorded from the community of Babonneau. According to parliamentary representative for the constituency, Babonneau, like other communities, has to deal with its social ills, crime being on the priority list where all stakeholders, including the newly instated station, need to come together to control it.
As an agricultural community, predial larceny, commonly referred to as theft of agricultural produce, has emerged as an issue of concern, threatening to demotivate our farmers, especially our young farmers. I have obtained information from the department, the Family Court Department, that indicates that there has been an increase in domestic violence or intimate partner violence in the Babonneau constituency. Truancy or the absenteeism from primary and secondary school has become a social scourge in some parts of our constituency. Whether the reasons are issues of broken families, homes, financial constraints, neglect, substance abuse, or feelings of insecurity caused by bullying, we in Babonneau must ramp up charitable responses, working with schools, families, the police, and other social support agencies.
As part of the ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony unveiled the station's plaque and in his address called on the officers who now operate the Babonneau police station to engage in community policing, as now much work needs to be done to create a comforting image in the area.
Crime grows fast in environments that appear not to be managed or in places that seem to be forgotten or cast aside. Today we must say clearly that we want a crime-free Babonneau. We want a peaceful community in which you can nurture your children, in which your life, limb, property, and other liberties are respected. With a voting population of over 10,000 persons in Babonneau, this facility to serve the Northeast is undoubtedly long in coming. We know, however, that the siting of this facility has not been free from controversy. Indeed, it would have been more ideal, more aesthetically pleasing if the character of Babonneau Junction with its road island was maintained and embellished. But another way, while we seek to provide function, we should still remember it must go hand in hand with form.
Construction of the Babonneau Police Station began in August 2011 and was ready for operation commencement 3 weeks ago. For the CTV News, I am Jessie Leonce.
An urgent plea has been made to the government for the reform of the Labour Department. The National Workers' Union, the NW, in a statement says a radical change in industrial relations must start with the immediate rescue of the Labour Department, which is almost on the brink of collapse. The department is presently deeply rooted in factions, according to the union, has no leadership with the capacity to chart the way forward and demonstrate the will to discharge its responsibilities and obligations in keeping with an up-to-date and well-operated government labor unit. A strong and purposeful Minister for Labour must be given full support and surrounded by the best technical and industrial relations talent within the public service, according to the union. There are scores of industrial issues, the union claims, currently before the Department of Labour, without any result in sight. The NW believes government needs to move quickly to save some of the good that is left and rid the Department of Labour of its dead weight. Labour officials, the union added, must be given opportunities for training in negotiations, conciliation, mediation, and arbitration processes. High debt, low growth, structural unemployment, the undesirable link between low productivity and employability. It was also the core phrase in the message to the Caribbean Public Service Association, which is meeting here, and that message was delivered by Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. Because of the size of the public services in the region, Dr. Anthony believes the issue of productivity is crucial as the region struggles to get a handle on the debt situation threatening the island's stability. The public sector reform, he noted, is a tired conversation. What is needed at this time, he said, is a shift in the posture of government and trade unions, where a consensus and trust is at the center of the negotiating table. Speaking to the troubling negotiating period with public sector unions earlier in the year, Dr. Anthony told the activists he had to put country first, even though it meant becoming unpopular. Antigua, he pointed out, is now emerging out of a standby agreement with the IMF at great social cost. Public workers in St. Kitts Nevis have not had an increase in 6 years.
They too are undergoing an IMF-directed adjustment program. Institutions which loan money to the government have had to accept haircuts on their returns for their investments. Our own institutions in St. Lucia have also been affected by that decision. Jamaica, as you heard, has had to agree to a wage freeze until 2015 against a backdrop of debt to GDP of 140% and debt servicing consuming over 50% of the national budget. Jamaica Civil Service Association has had to show great courage and understanding to the real threats that the country faces. In Barbados, the government spends over 11% of GDP in public emoluments. The governor of the central bank has recently advised that government has to reduce the fiscal deficit by at least US $200 million. Even before this pronouncement, wage restraint was the order of the day. My respectful view, the unions in Barbados and Jamaica have shown admirable courage in the face of these perilous times, in being able to empathize with the greater cause with understanding and showing to their sister unions that seeking rewards of compensation is not the sum total of union responsibility.
All parties, Dr. Anthony cautioned, must consider the bigger picture and stop walking towards the cliff.
A call for a rethinking of traditional approaches does not and should not mean that the collective bargaining process is sacrificed or abandoned. It is understood that it has to be protected because it is sacred. It is doubtful that in the face of high levels of unemployment, non-existence or anemic growth, unmanageable fiscal deficits, high debt payments, that reliance could continue to be placed on the traditional criteria and arguments to justify wage increases. For example, has the time come for wage increases to be justified by increases in GDP and that hated and maligned word, productivity? What is it am I proposing? Essentially, I believe that the situation we face called for a grand compact between governments, trade unions, and associations with their clientele in the public service. The objective should be to fashion common ground on future wage negotiations, possibly for a specific period of time, say 5 years.
Meantime, President of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, Mary Isaac, has called for governments in the region to begin seeing unionism as a tool to drive economic development and prosperity for workers. The Caribbean Public Service Association, she says, ought to be involved at both the CARICOM and OECS levels.
When we discuss and construct policies and legislation that will impact on regional integration, we must do so holistically, and trade unions, particularly regional trade union umbrella organizations, must play a prominent role.
One more industrial note for you. The CSA has successfully completed negotiations with the Fish Marketing Corporation. The two parties signed off on the collective agreement Tuesday afternoon. The CSA was able to secure a 7% general wage increase for the employees.
We are happy to indicate that we were able to get some improvements in the clauses of acting allowance. There was a new provision which we introduced, which is called transfers. There was also improvements to the allowances clauses. There was improvement to the vacation leave clauses and the funeral leave clauses. And also significantly is health and safety. When we speak to issues of health and safety, for example, you have drivers employed by the Fish Marketing Corporation. It must be ensured that the vehicles that they use as the vehicle for their work are properly insured, and if anything should happen, that those persons would be protected. And most significantly, our members are happy for the outcome of the salary component of the negotiation, which is a 7%.
The workers are already benefiting from 4%. The general manager of the Fish Marketing Corporation, Von Charles, expressed satisfaction with working alongside the CSA in carving out improved conditions for workers.
The St. Lucia Fish Marketing Corporation is extremely happy to have been able to conclude the collective bargaining agreement with the St. Lucia Civil Service Association. As the representative of the association said, there were some improvements to the clauses of which we agreed. We thought that those improvements were necessary in keeping with the modern day work ethics and the responsibilities of the employer. Without any major issues, we worked as a team, recognizing that the present situation and the conditions of work that presently exist at the Fish Marketing Corporation, there was some, as she said, some minor improvements.
Mr. Charles indicated a willingness to continue sound relations with the CSA beyond the negotiating table. You're watching the CTV News. When we come back, the transfer of ICT knowledge to local students. Welcome back. The transfer of ICT knowledge will happen over the summer between local students and budding professionals from the National Taiwan University. The government of Taiwan is sponsoring a summer workshop at the National ICT Center in Castries.
In the upcoming 2 weeks, we would like to share our knowledge of computers with the people of St. Lucia. Through this interaction, we hope not only to exchange our ideas regarding technology, but to also better understand each other's cultures.
This program aims to encourage our youth of Taiwan to go abroad to make changes with the youth people of that country. And that is the background for today's National Taiwan team. Be here with you and to exchange the theme this year is the computer science. So they are going to share the knowledge and skill with you during the coming week.
The government of St. Lucia is committed to ensuring that you become part of this technological revolution that's taken part in the world, is making arrangements to ensure that in the future all students will have access to computers. There is a very strong belief, certainly by our minister, that basically computer applications really should be used as a means of communicating with students and students with their teachers, whereby you can very easily communicate from your laptop to your teacher, send your assignments and they send you work and things of that sort. Therefore, this training workshop is applauded. We applaud this initiative by the Embassy of Taiwan to support St. Lucia in this initiative to make you ready to engage these initiatives that the government of St. Lucia is taking on.
The Lucian People's Movement, the LPM, has urged both the ruling St. Lucia Labour Party and the parliamentary opposition, the United Workers' Party, to avoid making the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, the ultimate legal body for the island without the express consent of the people of St. Lucia. The LPM, while fully agreeing with Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony's assessment that a special referendum may prove too costly for the island, rejects his proposal for remedying the situation by working out a convenient compromise between his government and the UWP in order to avoid a referendum. According to the LPM leader, Thurl Prudent, the issue of cost can be easily remedied by attaching the question of the CCJ to the ballot at the next general elections. Therefore, Prudent believes that Dr. Anthony should abide by the intent of the Constitution, which mandates that the question of the CCJ be decided by the direct participation of the people. It was the celebration of 25 years of unbroken representation by Philip J. Pierre in Castries East constituency. The SCP constituency group held its annual general meeting on the weekend. Here's Jessie Leons with the details.
The St. Lucia Labour Party celebrated 25 years of dominance in the East Castries constituency, with Parliamentary Representative and Deputy Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre having won the seat for the past 4 consecutive elections. A conference was held at the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School this past Sunday, with supporters and party leaders in attendance, singing praises to the competence of Pierre and the dedication of his following.
I remember at a public meeting held in Grosley. Now he doesn't know, I was there listening. And he said on a platform, I know Lon Theophilus, I know him well. He's a little disillusioned, but one day he'll find himself. And that day, when I found myself, he picked up his phone and called me and said, so you're joining organizations and you're not letting me know? I told him, my brother, I believe in this organization. I believe in people like yourself. And even during the times when I was disillusioned, people will know that I never for once criticized Philip J. Pierre. I maintain my position with respect to Philip J. Pierre because he's a man of principle, a man of sound leadership and judgment, a man that we as a party should always stand behind. A successful minister of government and a successful leader in the country. I owe a great debt of gratitude to him, and I will do anything possible, or everything possible, to ensure that I emulate his model, as I said earlier on. And I know that once I adopt the Philip J. Pierre model, I can only grow from strength to strength in my own personal development in the politics of this country. So on behalf of the Delrinov Constituency Group, I want to congratulate the Castries East Group on the observance of your 25th anniversary. I'm hoping that one day, some of you, if not all of you, will gather in Delrinov to celebrate 25 years with me.
Minister Philip J. Pierre has remained committed to the fight for bread, freedom, and justice. Not only what we read when we attend these conferences, but he practiced was involved, was committed to the fight for bread, freedom, and justice.
In addressing the crowd, Philip J. Pierre noted that the most challenging time in his political career was his period in opposition, knowing that he was the leader of the people but able to do very little for them. He says this trying time is what made the St. Lucia Labour Party's victory at the polls in 2011 the sweetest.
You do not know what we went through. You don't know what we went through, you know. You don't know what we went through in this 2000 and between the period 2005-2011. You do not know what we in Castries East went through. You do not know. We saw some of our key people go and look for contract. So when I saw that was happening, I advised them to go and look for contracts too. You will not imagine what it is to see top officials of government touring with unelected politicians, and when they see me, treating me as if I am just discarded building, passenger, with unelected members of parliament. I went through that, you went through that, we went through that. I've seen them build infrastructure and stop it right next to a supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party. In this constituency, that went through, that happened. That era, 2005-2011, will remain implanted in my brain.
The parliamentary representative made special mention of his constituency supporters who stood by his side throughout the days of opposition, thanking them for their resilience on the ground.
I think it's a day where I'm going to my home from church and roll my yard full up with yellow journeys. Piete soon, going to my house, you know. Going to my house. And I took it because I knew you were on my side. I knew you were on my side. You were on my side. All of you. The people who was closest to me, the people who walked Glenn and Karen, walked the constituency. But every time they were talking, we were working.
The conference did not end without the St. Lucia Labour Party honoring Philip J. Pierre's following in the constituency, those who had been dedicated to the movement for many years in and out of the campaign season. For the CTV News, I am Jessie Leonce.
A tropical wave accompanied by a surface low-pressure system was located about 400 miles east-southeast of the Cape Verde Islands and moving westward at about 15 miles per hour. According to the National Hurricane Center in Miami, thunderstorm activity increased and became better organized on Monday, and environmental conditions are expected to be favorable for development over the next day or so before becoming less conducive later in the week. The center said the system has a medium chance, that's about 30%, of becoming a tropical cyclone during the next 48 hours. For more on what's happening to us weather-wise, we join Mary Polios.
Over the next few weeks, we will be looking at what constitutes the atmosphere. Today, we look at the troposphere. It is the lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere. The troposphere starts at Earth's surface and goes up to a height of 7 to 20 kilometers, that's between 4 to 12 miles, or 23,000 to 65,000 feet above sea level. Almost all weather occurs within this layer. Air is warmest at the bottom of the troposphere near ground level. Higher up, it gets colder. Air pressure and the density of air are also less at high altitudes. Nearly all of the water vapor and dust particles in the atmosphere are found in the troposphere. Therefore, most clouds are in this lowest layer too. The bottom of the troposphere, right next to the surface of the Earth, is called the boundary layer. In places where Earth's surface is bumpy, that is where you have mountains, forests, winds in the boundary layer are all jumbled up. In smooth places, that is over water and ice, the winds are smoother. The winds above the boundary layer aren't affected by the surface as much. The troposphere is heated from below. Sunlight warms the ground or ocean, which in turn radiates the heat into the air right above it. This warm air tends to rise. That keeps the air in the troposphere all mixed up. The top of the troposphere is quite cold with a temperature around 55 degrees Celsius, that is minus 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Air also gets thinner as you go up higher. That's why mountain climbers sometimes need bottled oxygen to breathe. The boundary layer at the top of the troposphere is called the tropopause, and the next layer of air is the stratosphere. We continue tomorrow to look at the layers of the atmosphere. Skies were mainly fair. Temperatures reached 87 degrees Fahrenheit or 31 degrees Celsius, that is maximum temperature. During the next 24 hours, winds will come from the east averaging 20 miles per hour. Winds are quite brisk. Seas will be moderate with waves 5 to 7 feet, and the weather fair to partly cloudy and hazy with a chance of just a few scattered showers. There is a tropical wave in the far eastern Atlantic. It's moving towards the west at about 12 miles per hour. Tropical storm formation is not expected in the tropical Atlantic through Wednesday.
Welcome back to the CTV News. The St. Lucia Amateur Athletic Association wrapped up a 2-week training program for coaches. We get full details in this report.
After 10 days of intensive training, 21 individuals are now Level 1 sports coaches in track and field. The International Association of Athletics Federation, in collaboration with the St. Lucia Athletics Association and the Olympic Committee, conducted the 10-day coaching course, and in the end, a ceremony was held where the coaches were handed their certificates.
You are certified coaches on paper, and it is when you have produced medal winners and empowered lovers of the sport who appreciate the sport and who continue beyond your school, club, district, and St. Lucian shores that you can call yourself a coach.
Certification is quite different to education. Somebody could be certified and have all the degree they need and they cannot apply it. Learning is a change of behavior that happens over a period of time. So, in order for your behavior to change, if you are not coaching, you have to start to coach. If you are coaching and you are at a lull, you have to reawaken yourself and start performing. Children are out there and they need you. The Athletic Association here need you. So I really appreciate the efforts you made. Whether you scored 4, 3, 2, or 1, I know you are not just certified. You are now educated people. And go forth and produce.
The same number of participants who started the program finished and were certified. They all felt that the initiative was well worth it, considering their roles as sports personalities in their communities and clubs around St. Lucia.
This means a lot to me. Now I know exactly how to deal with the kids ranging from 6 to 15 years. It is something I've been wanting to do for the longest while, being a qualified coach, and those 10 days has given me the opportunity and the knowledge to know exactly how to work with kids.
It was a good course. It reinforced a lot of the things that I'm already doing, learned some new things that I plan to implement when I go back to coaching in September. And it was a really good opportunity to see so many new, young, excited coaches. That means well for track and field in St. Lucia. So I hope now that all these excited people that we have will go into coaching on a full-time basis to help develop the sport of track and field.
The new coaches were introduced to skills in training junior sportsmen and women, and more so guided as to how to scout for talent, primarily for the upcoming Commonwealth Games scheduled for 2017.
The St. Lucia Olympic Committee will be calling on the Athletics Association to show slip, leading up to what is well known in this country now, the hosting of the Commonwealth Youth Games in 2017. Your task is cut out for that. We would hate to believe that we're hosting in 2017, 4 years from now, and we cannot come away with at least 5 medal winners in the sport of track and field.
The award ceremony was held on Saturday at the Marcia Primary School. For the CTV News, I am Jessie Leonce.
And that's where we come to the end of the CTV News. We want to say thank you so much for watching. I'm Melissa Joseph, as always, saying goodbye until we meet next time.